Take a look at the Demonator. You can see the 40s, you can see the tent, but can you spot the satellite internet dish? You can't, because I hid it. I didn't want to spend a bunch of time setting up a dish every time I stopped on the trail or set up camp. I wanted it instant and I want it invisible. So I put together a permanent hidden install for the new Starlink Mini. No messy wires, no setup time, always there and ready to go. In this video, I'm showing you exactly how I integrated it into the Gladiator so it's ready for anything. This is really a game changer. The reason I want Starlink is not so I post all over the internet while I'm out, but it's also from a safety standpoint. Being out off the grid in the middle of nowhere and having internet access in case something happens at the cost of what internet access costs these days, I think is super important and essential. Now, I also have a Garmin little handheld, what do they call it? InReach communicator. That thing costs me like $17 a month. I never use it to send messages. I've tried it a few times. It is kind of slow, but it does have an SOS button on it, which here in Canada, you press it, it's gonna get search and rescue out coming after you. I wanna be able to make like a phone call or have real-time messaging with people I know. And maybe it's not a crazy emergency that I need SOS. I don't need search and rescue to come out, but maybe I need to contact someone. A lot of us, a lot of my friends, all the group that I hang out with and go off-roading with, everybody is adding Starlink minis to their trucks. $300 Canadian to get the dish. And you can get a various amount of plans, but the plan that I'm running on is just the standby mode plan. For those of you that aren't Starlink tech nerd enthusiasts, like some of us, standby mode is $7 Canadian. It still keeps you connected to the internet. You don't have a lot of speed. It's not high speed, but you can use things like Facebook Messenger or Instagram DMs. Like you can send messages to people because it has just enough bandwidth to keep connected to the satellites. That allows you to change the service to high speed if you need to, right? It has to be able to talk so you can switch it to high speed out in the bush. You don't have to come back online to switch it. So for $7 a month, I can stay connected with messaging, which is pretty much all I need, or post a picture to Instagram on my story or something like that. And if I'm going on a big trip and I want internet streaming services, if you guys go watch a couple videos ago where we watched the Formula One race on a Saturday night out while camping, I can just lift that up to a higher speed service as I need to. Other than that, the rest of the time, I want to have the Jeep. It's going to have internet connectivity for messaging. Also, I can slowly update my Onyx off-road maps on offline. My tablet can stay connected because it only has Wi-Fi. So we've got internet service always in the Jeep, which is super cool for $7 a month. That's crazy. Now, I have no affiliation with Starlink or anything like that, but here's a QR code for you guys. If you sign up, you get a free month, and I get a free month. So it helps me, it helps you. Check out that. There's a link down in the description as well. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to mount this up into the Jeep and see if it actually works through the roof. Does it actually have high-speed connectivity through the roof? This should be a pretty straightforward setup, assuming everything goes as planned. And I got these really cool mounts from a company called Ram Mounts. And they make this ball adapter. This thing is massive. This is way bigger than some of the other mounts I have in the Jeep. And this is supposed to clip onto the back of my Starlink. It's supposed to replace this flimsy little flap on the back. And then it gives us a ball adapter to which we can connect it to this monster arm, also from Ram Mounts. Should give us enough length that we can mount it to what I'm thinking my overhead chromoly rack next to my, well, above my driver's side. But we're gonna mount this on the passenger side. I'm hoping it'll tuck up nice and tight into the Freedom panel. And we've got another large ball here. I think these are they cost these as the C-class ball, a C ball. Let's see, what does it say on the packaging here? Ram ball adapter, threaded post, C size. So they have some different sizes. This is a C size, this is a larger one. There's a thread I found on one of the forums. Someone said to use these giant balls, otherwise the weight of the Starlink may not hold it. But this thing is a tank. This is metal. This is not plastic. This thing is huge. So the idea is going to be to have the ball connected underneath and then have a ball connected to the side, and we're gonna mount that to the overhead panel. Hopefully everything goes as planned. And hopefully the Starlink works through the panel. Originally sought out with an idea of someone I saw. This was the original post that I saw. And if you guys want, there is a bolt hole under right here that you can run a long bolt through and connect that big ram mount ball to. And the person had it, so their Starlink panel was sitting right here in the rear and going through the Freedom panel. But that's not gonna work very well for me, because after getting all of this, I realized I have a giant rooftop tent on here. So what we'll be doing today is mounting the ball, I think, to the side of the Crow Molly panel. This is the Epic Adventure Outfitters overhead rack. And I'm hoping it just kind of sits right here and we can push it right up against the top of the roof. And I don't usually have a passenger in here, but if I do, well, they're gonna have to deal with a satellite dish above their head now, because I want internet in my Jeep wherever I go. Do these ram mounts work how I expect them to? Other people say these work great. This thing is massive. This is way bigger than the arms that I have my phone hooked. All right, enough talking. I need to find a bolt, because this is a 1/4 inch 20 bolt, I think, so that we can mount this to my overhead rack. And then we'll fire it in there and check it out. It's gonna be a short video, guys, but I figure if I'm doing something, I'm sharing it with you guys. It's probably interesting. Okay, so this ram mount for the Starlink is pretty straightforward. We just click it into place, and that's it. That is super solid. And make sure you have your power cord in there before, otherwise you have to pop these little tabs up and pull this off. But that should be all we need. Now we just got to figure out exactly how we're going to mount this into the Jeep. First, I think I will attach this monster arm so that I can kind of get an idea how we're going to situate this, but it's going to be something like that, hanging off the ball here, satellite tucked right up to the roof. And then we just crank this giant screw down. That is stout. Okay, we'll get to powering this in a minute. I'll show you guys how I'm powering my Starlink, but I think I'm gonna want the power going the other way, off of the other side. So that way we can just run it across the A-pillar and down to the back, because I'm gonna have it running off a power station. And I got a cool little adapter for the Starlink so that it can run off USB-C. Now you need at least 100 watts of USB-C, but that's not going to be a problem with my EcoFlow power station. And I think, oh, I get this power cable out of the way. I think this is going to work absolutely perfectly. Other than the passenger now is going to have a Starlink kind of in their face a bit. But that's what you get for being a passenger, not the driver. I think it's going to tuck in real nice right here, just like that, into the Freedom panel. Now, I guess in theory, I could power it off my USB power up here on my overhead rack, but that goes on and off with the vehicle, and I don't want my Starlink draining the Jeep's battery. So I want this running off a power station that's going to have tons of juice and be on when the truck is off, so that when I'm camped at night, I'm not burning down my starting battery for the morning. Crank that thing on there. Whew, that is not moving. Okay, well, I think if we turn it this way, and we just lock this in like that, get that nice and forward, just clears the panel. That's gonna do that. We gotta have it a little bit lower than I can't stuff it right against the roof, or it's gonna rattle against the roof while we're driving. The frame on the chromoly panel isn't that, like, the whole panel's flexing having this on here. This is gonna do this going down the road, I'm afraid. Might have to rethink this, because what we don't want is to be driving down the road and this is our life. So I'm just wondering if I mount the ball to the underside of this, perhaps we don't get as much torsion and flex on the rack. I think we're still gonna get a bit of flex here though. But I can mount it away from anything. I think if I just slide this back a little bit. All these options for mounting, so I've got it on this little slider here. I think if I just slide this back just a tad, we're not gonna hit this freedom panel latch, and then I can have it just low enough that it's not gonna hit the roof. I think I found the perfect spot. Let me show you. So I slid the ball back a little bit from the front of the from the crow overhead panel here, and I managed to get it located perfectly so that even if this shakes, I mean, I guess I'd have to really shake. I could turn that a little bit away. Okay, there we go. Mounted perfectly, doesn't hit anything. And I think it's mostly out of the way for any passengers sitting here. So if we're in a car accident, what I don't want is you hitting your head on the mount, which I'm 6'2", and my head still clears this just fine. So anybody shorter should be fine as well. It is just a little bit obtrusive in your face, but it's above my head, so it's really just a little bit lower than the rack itself. So I've just plugged this into my EcoFlow Delta 3 Max Plus, and it has a 140 watt USB port. I bought this little adapter. So this is the cord that comes with the Starlink, and I just bought this little, I don't know, end that goes on it that lets you plug it into USB-C. As long as you have a 100 watt USB-C or higher, it should be fine, but we're only pulling about 35 watts. So if you're wondering how long it could run off this power station, well, 40 watts, 2,000 watt hour power station, probably like 50 hours off the top of my head, maybe. Yeah, 50 hours, probably 50 hours. So that is a long time off of one 2,000 watt hour power station. So Starlink has a cool app. You load on your phone, you connect to the Wi-Fi, and you can see all kinds of information about your connections. So we've got a sort of clear view. You see the red, that's not good, but that's also a bunch of trees around my yard. Blue is connecting to satellites. And so I've got a pretty clear view to lots of satellites, which is more than I've seen out in the bush. And it's optimizing. We'll just give it a minute here. And Starlink says it's online through the fiberglass roof. So that's awesome. Let's see if we can get a speed test through here. And that's 50 megabits down, 10 megabits up. I have a ton of obstructions around me from the trees, so that is not helping at all, but that looks like it works through the fiberglass panel. That is slick. All right, just want to make a quick, just jumping into the edit here, I realized that I may be misleading you a little bit with the Starlink speeds that you're getting. The tests that I'm doing are still on a full high-speed plan. It's more like broadband internet to your house, but I'm getting, you know, over 120 megabits per second, no problem, through my fiberglass panel, and I have quite an obstructed view. This is to the north, and these trees are in a lot of the way of the satellites, as well as we've got part of the house in the way, but I'm still getting plenty of internet speed. When you switch over to standby mode, guys, that is going to drop your speed down to half a megabit, 0.5 megabit per second, which is not broadband speed, but that is plenty of speed to send messages, you know, Instagram story posts, it'll eventually upload. And you can even stream low quality YouTube. And from what I read, others, I don't have an iPhone, but others will be able to make video calls on iPhones. So I want to be very clear that you're not going to get 50 or 100 megabit broadband speed on the standby plan for $7 a month, but it is all I really need. Plenty of speed for connectivity and slow uploads and downloads, which that's all I need when I'm off the grid. And it works perfectly fine through the fiberglass panel. So as far as wiring goes, I just followed the arm up to my mount, and I just kind of tucked it in behind the visor here. Next time I pull down all this trim, maybe I'll route it in there, but I was just able to, you know, bring it over here, and then I just use my grab bar handle, put it into the Velcro there, and then there's enough space between the roof and the B pillar or crossbar here, the sport cage, to kind of tuck it up and push it through. And then you can just kind of follow the sport cage along the top, either use some Velcro straps, or if you have handles, just use the Velcro on the handle. And I just brought it down the side here, and then it's kind of exposed. I zip tied it to the rear of the sport cage, bundled up all the extra here, tucked it in next to my goose gear, and plugged it in. I've got the Delta 2 in here right now. I'm gonna be swapping that out to the Delta 3 Max Plus and expansion batteries, so probably do a little video about that update in the future. The other thing I wanted to note is I actually end up having to put my Delta 3 Max Plus in here, which has the 140 watt PID port. For some reason, connecting it to the EcoFlow Delta 2 Max with its 100 watt USB port, which is tucked in behind here, I got the blue light that we see on the USB. It's on the other side here. I was getting the blue light coming on. My Starlink had power, but for some reason it wasn't able to turn on. I just want to mention that. Be cautious with what power stations you connect to. I recommend one with a 140 watt or a newer device. You may have issues on 100 watt USB ports. I haven't tested them all, but that was my quick experience, and I didn't want to mislead you guys at all. For $7 a month in standby mode is awesome value, especially if you can pick up one of the Starlink minis on sale. $300 Canadian plus $7 a month for connectivity almost everywhere. I think that's a no-brainer for me. I'll leave some links down in the description below to the RAM mounts that I use specifically for this as well, and my Starlink affiliate code. Like I said, you guys get a free month, I get a free month if you sign up using it. Appreciate it. No big deal if you don't. And leave me any questions down in the comments. I'll try to answer them best I can. My name's Casey, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.